Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, hope you all are doing great. Today I am going to show you movie Narvik released in the year 2023. The film begins with the Norwegians surrendering to the Germans on the orders of their general. The German opposing him informs him that they intend to take over without spilling blood and that no one will come to save them. Major Omdal recognized the grave consequences of lowering their guard and waiting for the right moment to strike. He silently withdrew his troops and marched along the railway tracks. The German checkpoints were aware of it but did nothing. Omdal's plan became clear when he inquired about the location of the munitions hidden inside the tunnel from Gunnar. He had no idea and asked his father about it. Omdal instructed him to blow up the bridge connecting the tunnel and the other side leading to Sweden once he arrived at the location and retrieved the dynamite. It was because Narvik supplied nearly 85% of the iron ore used by Germany to manufacture weapons and tanks. If the Norwegians were to destroy the bridge, they would be able to slow the import of iron or dampen Germany's war efforts. Gunnar was hesitant because the incoming train housed her wife and child. Fortunately, the civilians were allowed to exit the train and go their separate ways. Despite the German onslaught, Gunnar bravely blows off the bridge and is later apprehended by troops. At one point, Ingrid found herself assisting both the British and the Germans. Out of compassion, she assisted the British consul in fleeing the facility after the Germans took over. She was well aware that if she did not assist them, they would be slaughtered. However, once that occurred, the British threatened her with a veiled attack that if she was found complicit in assisting them in escaping, the Germans would kill her family. They hinted that the British themselves might do it after she said Bjorg will not reveal it. She was forced to assist them in order to maintain secrecy, and her own kindness was used against her. Ingrid's assistance to the Germans was much more understandable because they posed a more immediate and tangible threat to her safety. Even though Wusso was on her side, she knew the ruthless Germans would not hesitate to kill civilians if she did not comply and help them establish their base in Narvik. Ole's infection worsened. He had collapsed and was struggling to breathe. However, Wusso denied assisting Ingrid. She was put in a difficult situation in which she had to give him something that would compel Wusso to give her a doctor. But that was not the only reason Ingrid was persuaded to abandon the British. It also had a lot of build-ups. The British bombarded her house without regard for the people who lived nearby. She showed the consuls the location of the Germans' main office on a map, and the British used that information to nearly kill Ole and Ingrid. Gunnar's father, a slack, was killed instantly. Bjorg was quick to remind Ingrid that the British were more concerned with defeating the Germans and protecting their own interests than with the Norwegians. It was always a tall order for the Norwegians to pull off this miracle on their own. In fact, taking on the mighty German troops was nearly impossible for that small company. They did receive assistance from the French in the north and the Poles in the south. They needed the Norwegians to take out the German positions in the mountains before they could help them. Without it, the incoming troops would be slaughtered like sheep. Omdal led a small contingent and joined forces with some of the French soldiers who arrived from behind. Their combined efforts were used to clear out the German stronghold on the mountains and gain a strategic advantage. Then came the attack on Narvik's beaches to seize control and deliver the decisive blow to the German occupation of the city. Heavy German artillery pushed the troops back when they landed. They dashed down the hill, only to be met by Omdal. They went back in and defeated the Germans, triumphing against all odds. After a bloody battle, Gunnar and his fellow soldiers triumphed over the Germans. With a renewed sense of purpose and pride, they hoisted the Norwegian flag over Narvik. Gunnar returned home with his troops, who were greeted as heroes by the townspeople, who knew the soldiers had saved them. Bjorg greeted Hansen and fell into his arms, indicating that she had liked him from the beginning. But when Gunnar asked her about Ingrid, she gave him a cold stare. Gunnar returns to his house, defeated, and sees its charred outline against the blue sky. Nobody rebuilt his house when every other house in the neighborhood appeared to be in good condition. He enters and sees the shambles. Surprisingly, he discovers Ingrid and Ole rummaging through things. They are initially overjoyed to see each other, but things quickly turn sour. When Ingrid defends her actions as being for Ole, Gunnar accuses her of being a traitor. People talk, as Penny had warned Ingrid, and their relationship is suffering as a result. Her marriage appears to be over, but then another bomb explodes nearby. When they go outside, they notice that one of Gunnar's friends has been set ablaze. After Gunnar expresses his inability to forgive her actions, Ingrid and Ole part ways. Omdal informs his soldiers that they will go to war again and defend their motherland until their last breath. Gunnar appears to be as well. On the cruise, however, we see Gunnar join Ingrid and Ole. He hugs his wife and apologizes for his behavior. Ole is pleased to see his father, and they set out to begin a new life. It's possible that Gunnar realized that this war would be the end of him. They just won a minor victory and are now being drawn into each other. War is a zero-sum game in which both parties lose. Soldiers like Gunnar are sacrifices justified and glorified by leaders in the name of martyrdom. Gunnar desired to begin a new life with his family and to regain his mental health. In the post-credits scenes, we see that Narvik was completely destroyed by German bombers after the English and French withdrew without warning. They abandoned the Norwegians to fend for themselves. Gunnar's decision was correct, and it reflects the maker's anti-war sentiments.